Welcome back. We're looking at the year 2016. January 1, usually everybody screams Happy New Year, running from 2015 into 2016. This year's New Year celebrations, while in some areas they were low-key, in some others you still sense that excitement, and people were still screaming. A lot of people stayed up through the night into...
You know, for whatever it is worth, that you are alive, you should celebrate that. Whether it is gari that you have to, soak, whether you have chicken to back it up, but you should be happy.
Whatever the case may be. For the first time, a lot of people do not go to churches, do not go to the places of worship until the 31st of January. And then they take that into the new year, and that closes it for them. They don't go into the places of worship until another 31st. So that's a first. But that's not what we're looking at today. We're looking at expectations into the year from the year 2016. What are we hoping to see in the face of the security challenges, economic challenges, social challenges all around? What are the expectations that Nigerians have from the year 2016? And we have in the studio to help us look at some of these things. Some Nigerians. We have Mr. Tony Dania. He's a legal practitioner and public affairs analyst. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you. Good morning.
Also in the studio is Bola Ilori, a Special Assistant on Environment to the Osun State Governor. Thank you for coming.
Good morning.
And Don Eparada, Special Advisor to the Bayelsa State Governor on Media. Thank you for coming.
It's a pleasure
to have you here.
Okay, gentlemen. Let me begin with the legal practitioner. What are your expectations in 2016?
Well, I think 2016 will be much more better than 2015. The current administration has put things in place that will enhance a better year. For instance, I'm impressed, with what the Buhari administration have so far done, and that to me it's not slow. People say it's slow. I don't think it's slow. One, he has been able to some extent to block areas where people exploit negatively to enrich their pocket. He's bold enough and courageous enough to go after those that have been involved in monumental frauds. But the only issue I have with his administration is the tendency of impunity. It is gradually coming in, where people feel court orders, the judiciary is being undermined to some extent. I think the Attorney General of the Federation should do something about this. Instead of creating the impression that government agency can disobey orders of competent courts, there are ways to go about it. The highest crime in the world is murder. Following that, it's treasonable felony. They are even bailable. So, but if we allow this idea of bail granted, no matter the allegation, I appreciate the fact that if probably Dasuki was allowed to go on bail, the first time he was granted bail, when we didn't know about the $2.something billion, maybe he would have escaped. But there are ways of going about this. The Attorney General should know. You can go to court and convince the court on why bail should not be granted, or even if bail would be granted, it should be granted on condition that would be, let me use the word, escape proof, which means the person, it will be difficult for the person to escape, So I feel that the Nigerian economy will witness more development because money will be in the hands of so many persons. But then, let me quickly take this issue, sorry. The issue of paying 5,000 Naira allowance to unemployed Nigerians. The employed ones have not been paid. We know the employed ones to some extent. Even among the employed ones, we have ghost workers. We don't have, we are beginning to put things together in the country, but yet we don't have a database. Where's the statistics? How do you know the unemployed? How are you going to pay them? It will breed corruption. And you cannot borrow to be doing that. if you improve power supply with 50% above what we are presently experiencing, what you will save for this country is not going to be less than 200 billion. If you don't put the chart before the us, if you want, what do you call it? If you want to remove subsidy, you must create the enabling environment.
Mr. Daniel, you've moved from the judiciary to the economy, to power, and to...
We'll still have to come back.
We'll come back to you.
There are issues that you raised that we really need to, tell us how, what makes you feel that indeed 2016 will be better than...
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Ellery.
Yeah.
He started out painting a picture of good, and as if he was rising, he now plummeted down to good.
Yeah.
But what do you think? Would 2016 shape Nigeria's future for the better?
It's going to be a year of harsh reality, the way I look at it. There are some things we must learn to live with. The reality we are facing, not just Nigeria, but the whole world. Some things are happening. And we as oil-producing nation, 2016 will have serious implications for Nigeria. And the government and the people would wake up to some reality. The government will take some decisions that would be tough. And the people too must realize that sacrifice will be on both sides of the divide for us to move forward. Because really, Nigeria cannot continue the way we were doing before. Like he said, and I agree with him, that the government is putting things in place to ensure that we have better life. But there are still harsh decisions that would have to be made. Issue of taxation is going to come up heavily in Nigeria in the new year, if Nigeria will survive, because the oil is not there. And every other country in the world that is called developed survive on tax. How we will let that happen without it being punitive is what the structure that must be in place. Looking at what he said in terms of saying, okay, we want to give people 5,000 naira. I want to say that model was actually taken from Oshun. It was Oshun model. But it's not about giving people money. It's about making them add value to the society, but give like it's a comfort zone for them. They are down and nowhere. But now is to give them a basis upon which they can fly on their own. So I see that in the new year, so many things will still happen before the government can do that. It's not going to happen in January or anywhere near the first or second quarter, because it is a logistic nightmare. People may not realize it now until they start. The forms alone that will be filled by people and sorting it is a crisis on its own.
Why do they have to fill forms with electronic, with software?
That's what I'm telling you. They will fill the form. It could be online, but they will still fill the form. You will sort the forms by all manners of indices. That in its own is an issue that they will have to create a platform.
So that question of database, adequate database,
it will be the database will be there, but it will take time, to gather the data, sort it, clean it, and make sure that it's effective. Then we must engage them productively, no matter how much is being given. That's the only time that you have benefits.
Let's get John to weigh in on 2016.
Maybe you should just also add, when we talk about the economy, people are not so happy now. Talk about the Naira sliding so badly, and what do you think, economically, Nigeria will stand in 2016?